So for those of you who may not be paying attention to the financial news, the economic news, or at least paying attention to the portion of it that's really the most relevant or matters the most, new stimulus is coming to the financial system. And it's going to be different than what we experienced during COVID, but very much impactful financially and economically to the system. There will be new stimulus for sure. And most importantly, what's going to be covered is not necessarily the details of the stimulus circumstances. I'm going to go over that to start this off, but I want to start talking about how important it's going to be that we have a clear understanding, an ideological mindset or foundation rather, to make sure that when this next wave of money pours into the system, credit pours into the system, that we don't make the same mistakes and throw this money away and end up broke as many of us did during COVID. So the backdrop to the new stimulus circumstances is pretty black and white economically speaking. We've been in a higher interest rate environment for about 2.5 years now, knocking on maybe three at this point in time. And that has been in an attempt to slow down the stimulus that was put in the system in the 2020s. So essentially, stimulus was stolen is an interesting point. We're going to get into some of that in this live stream. So for those of you coming into the live stream, make sure you leave a thumbs up, leave some emojis, some comments. Let me know you're in the building, leave some support to the channel so this content can continue to support you. The stimulus is coming in for very obvious economic reasons. We've been in a higher interest rate environment and what's called quantitative tightening, which is intended to be a counteract to an overheated economy, aka inflation. The rising cost of goods and services, or some economic educations will lead you to say a devaluing of the currency. However you want to look at it, it is taking more paper dollars to buy more of the same goods and services. So let's get that out of the way. That having been said, we're in a cycle right now where it's been about 3 years and the financial system took a shock when those rates went up. And it has never been intended to stay as high as it stayed. So there's a lot of downward pressure on the financial system. So the stimulus is going to come in because rates are going to get pushed down again, and credit will flow through the system like water again. So COVID's money, stimulus money, essentially was a breakdown where, and this happens in the economic system all the time. COVID's money was essentially a breakdown where the financial system needs to provide liquidity or credit in the system. Businesses need to be able to borrow so they can grow and scale, and consumers need to be able to borrow and have, wage inflation and stuff like that so they can continue to consume and buy. That's us, typically speaking. So new stimulus is coming to the system for sure, because a lot of that has been slowed down in an attempt to keep prices from going through the roof and crashing the financial system. In short, we've gotten to a point where prices have been moderately tamed, as they tell us. And now the downward pressure of the higher rates is starting to create employment issues, which is the 2 points of focus or objective for the Federal Reserve, okay? Their job is to keep price stability in the market and a stable economy from that perspective, and stable job growth in the economy, and the economy stable from that perspective. Those two are opposites to each other. What it takes to get either one of those two in a proper balance, or to stimulate either one of those two or suppress the other one, are opposite. To get prices down to a stable place, you need downward pressure on the economy, which leads to unemployment issues and people not getting laid off. In order to stimulate job growth and economic activity to increase hiring, then you usually have to do things that will lead to inflated prices. So they are very opposite to each other. And we're going into the other end of that cycle. I've been saying for over a year and some change that rates have to come down. I've been off on the timing, but it doesn't matter because it's happening. It's going to happen. We're finally at a point now where the economic data and the mainstream narrative is pushing in that direction. Most importantly for this video, what you see on the thumbnail and what you see on the title, this is really a discussion around when money pours into the system, whether it's going to be stimulus, if you want to go as far as reparations for many of you who are in that bucket and in that boat, this live stream is going to be dedicated to the perspective of some of the higher ranking people in our culture and our like our financial culture, as far as like the content creators and the, the popular ones that are essentially, for lack of better terms, some of the popular personalities in the internet, the media space that we know of, there's a reasonable divergence of, the narrative around money flowing in the systems in the form of reparations, and even to some extent stimulus that will be coming to the economy soon, for Black America in particular. And the reason I singled out the two individuals that are on the thumbnail, one is Tariq Nasheed, the other one is going to be Marquette Devon Burton, also known as the Assassin, etc. At the end of the day, I don't know if any of you watching this are familiar with either of the two of them, but they're both, relatively prominent figures in their own right, successful Black men in their own right, and in the media in their own right, okay? Tariq Nasheed has a little bit more of a background with like creating documentaries, being more identified with the pro-Black movement, etc. If you want to say that for lack of better terms, it's probably a much better introduction for him, but I'm just giving you the short version. Marquette Devon Burton has been more of an accomplished serial entrepreneur. He's kind of been on the outskirts of the media space, but still tied in and connected. He's kind of just built his own brand from the ground up, okay? And he's kind of become prominent on YouTube. Each of these characters are not financial educators in themselves, but they speak on and dabble on financial literacy and, financial topics. Tariq Nasheed has spoken on reparations, in the past. I did an entire video on that. Marquette Devon Burton he's done, his perspective on the health and the condition of Black America, financially speaking. So essentially they've dabbled in the same pool in this conversation that we're about to cover. So what this is about is new stimulus coming into the financial system and us having a clear, defined path on how not to go broke and have that money end up flowing right back out of our hands. Whether we're going to see the money stolen, as one of the comments I already have on this live stream, or we want to talk about the money being squandered. However you want to go about it, either way, it comes down to what we're going to be discussing in this live stream. So there's a huge diversion amongst the two gentlemen that I've singled out on the thumbnail around the topic. I've single-handedly segmented out Tariq Nasheed in a Vlad TV interview that's been about 10 months to a year old now that I shot a video on. So I'm going to try to link it in the description, but you can find it. I would do my best to link it in the description below regardless, because I did basically a response to his perspective on reparations on the Vlad interview, right? So his perspective on reparations, which again, I'm lumping stimulus in the bucket at the moment, okay? For those who are catching this, I'm somewhat lumping it's a windfall of money being injected into the system. However the hell, if it's targeted in the form of reparations, or if it's targeted and distributed as stimulus, it's credit, liquidity, money flowing into the system. Let's just stick to that for now. So there's a huge diversion amongst these two, and they kind of represent somewhat of a broader base of, perspectives from elite or high-ranking popular people in the culture, right? Tariq Nasheed has been caught, firsthand on his perspective on reparations in the Vlad interview in particular that I caught, again, about 10 months to a year ago, stating that it needs to be distributed now, irrespective of anything. Vlad's angle on this when this interview was going down was it needs to be accompanied with some type of financial education, because without it, that money's not going to mean anything. That was his stance. And he didn't feel as if the reparations should just be distributed blindly. It should be distributed with some kind of parameters, education, something around it to make it useful. Tariq Nasheed was vehemently opposed and felt as if it needs to be distributed now, no matter what. Who gives a damn? Put the money out. We're owed it. That's it. Okay. He also went on in that interview to state he didn't, ultimately he felt as if we would figure out, Black America would figure it out and navigate it if it was pumped into the system. And for those of us, and he's like, ultimately he ended up saying, for those of us that don't figure out and navigate it, oh well, so what? It'll flow into the broader economy anyway, and it is what it is. But some of us are going to know what to do with it. So he ended up drifting into a very selfish, self-centered perspective around reparations, because obviously himself and maybe people he's thinking about it, he knows, and the position they're in, if a windfall of money was to come in the form of reparations and be distributed at the kind of numbers that the estimations have put out, which is, basically millions of dollars per Black American, then he knows what he would do with the money. And he knows the people he knows firsthand what they would do with the money. He eventually looked at it in that interview. And again, I shot a whole video response to this. I'm going to put it in the description below. Very, very interesting interview. And I'll give a very interesting rebuttal to it. So he and Vlad had a very civil disagreement about this on the interview. So this was Tariq Nasheed's stance. We are owed it. It doesn't matter. Give it to us. Let us figure it out. And those of us that don't do well with it, whatever, it'll just flow back into the economy. And Vlad's perspective is like, no, it needs to be accompanied with some financial education. It needs to have some structure, etc., in order for it to be useful. Ultimately, that was Tariq Nasheed's stance. Marquette, again, the assassin, however y'all, some of y'all that watch this content know the big homie, whatever the case may be. He had a different perspective. Anton Daniels is another one. That was actually who I stuck in the original video that I shot when the Tariq Nasheed interview had first came down and I responded to it. Anton Daniels, Marquette Devon Burton, they have a different stance on it. Their stance is that without financial literacy, the money is pointless. Reparations won't mean anything. And I am in that camp. I made it abundantly clear in my response video. As a spoiler alert, you should still check the video out so you can get the full context. But I have made it abundantly clear that reparations is absolutely pointless as a whole. Of course, individually, some of us will have tremendous success. And that's what we're going to dive into further in this live stream as well. There's tremendous success for us individually there for sure. But as a whole, as an entity, as a group of people, reparations will not serve us as a whole. No lump sum of money, stimulus, however it comes, will not serve us. We experienced this during COVID. Stimulus money was siphoned right out of our hands because there was no solid basis to receiving a lump sum of money, whether it was just the $1,400 or $2,100 checks that came in, whether it was the 5 and 6 figures in PPP or IDILs, whatever the hell it was, however it came. The vast majority of us not only squandered it, but many of us, a decent portion of us, ended up in legal trouble playing games with the money, or tax trouble playing games with the money. So the money ended up being weaponized against us is what essentially happened. For those of you coming in live, I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all leave y'all likes. Make sure y'all continue to put y'all emojis, put your comments and your thoughts as I'm going through this. Make sure y'all let me know in the building, support the channel, support the video. Wayne, my God, what's up, man? I ain't seen you in a minute. Good to have you in. So I made it abundantly clear what my stance was, and some of the more prominent in the space, the Anton Daniels, the Marquette Devon Burtons, had their shit on one side of the spectrum. That ideology, cultural foundation, financial literacy, these things were integral to making something like reparations or stimulus work and make sense. On the flip side of that, you have individuals on the other end, like a Tariq Nasheed, who is saying, I don't give a damn about that. Pay it out, pay the reparations out. It's old, that's a wrap. That's it. Don't care who doesn't use it properly. Don't care who squanders it and it ends up right back in the hands of other groups. Don't care, pay it out. So let's be clear. Reparations, ethically and morally, is it old? That's an open and shut case. I think we can just skip right past that. Hopefully, for most of us, we understand, of course, reparations based on the basis that reparations is designed for, and other groups is being paid out to. You can make a very clear-cut argument that reparations is very much owed to Black America. The more of the story that I responded to in the video back when the Tariq Nasheed bad interview went down was, that's great, but is it worth it if it's not going to come to use for Black America? Is it worth it? Does it mean anything? To get the lump sum of money doesn't mean anything. It's the same thing when you get a lawsuit, when you get a settlement from some kind of injury or something happens. The same thing when you maybe get lucky and get an inheritance, which many of us don't really get, but you get some kind of inheritance, Powerballs and lotteries. We're going to talk about athletes and entertainers in a minute. It's the same thing. We've seen this playing out already. We've seen this case study this experiment ran a million times. It doesn't matter. The money in itself is not the solution. So what's important to understand is that as the internet has gotten as broad as it's gotten, all of us are consuming this content from somebody. All of us that give a damn about money, about becoming financially stable, financially successful, we're watching that content, consuming this, we're watching the media, we're watching the entertainment even, we're watching these things and consuming it and absorbing these ideas and viewpoints. And there's a divergence on it, and it's a problem. We've gone from gatekeeping before the internet, before where all these financial topics, knowledge, wisdom, and insight was hidden in books and kept them on certain groups. Now it's lucrative to put it out there on blast, to talk about it, to have an opinion, to be a leader in the space. And so now we're all drinking unfiltered information from a water hose. We're drinking unfiltered information around finance and financial topics and economics from a water hose. So we've gone from one evil to the next. And so when you have somebody like a Tariq Nasheed who's prominent in his own right and is going to have his own following and his own base, and he's screaming, don't give a damn who does and doesn't figure it out, pay the reparations and let us sort it out amongst ourselves. And then on the flip side of that, you have people like Anton Daniels, Marquette, saying, no, it's pointless, essentially. It's not going to serve you. You're not going to be able to, the community as a whole, the group as a whole is not going to be doing anything productive with it in the first place. So let's quickly talk about some examples of people who run into windfalls of money and earnings, windfalls of money, however you want to call it. Let's look at something really quickly, really interesting, some quick statistics. So there's no exact percentage for athletes or entertainers as of 2025 when it comes to how many of them go broke after making a fortune, right? Financial experts and news reports confirm that a significant number of professional athletes go broke, with estimates ranging from 60 to 80%. The financial failures of prominent entertainers is also well documented. These figures generally apply to periods after their peak earning years, and the problem has persisted to 2025 despite increased awareness. So while the numbers vary by league and sources, recent data shows the issue remains significant for professional athletes. And again, this is broader scale athletes. I didn't narrow this down to black athletes. This is just broader scale athletes. Shout out to everybody leaving the super chats and the super thanks and the likes. I appreciate y'all. We're going to get to these in a second. So February 2025 reports confirmed that a 2022 finding from Fox Business that 78% of professional athletes go broke within 3 years of retirement. 78%. That's a windfall of money. That's stimulus. That's reparations. It's earnings, but it's a windfall of life-changing money. 78% of athletes. Around 60% of NBA players reportedly face financial trouble within 5 years of leaving the league. A figure also cited in 2025 reports. 60% of basketball players, roughly. National Bureau of Economic Research found that 15.7% of NFL players filed for bankruptcy within 12 years of retirement, nearly 16% within 12 years of retirement. So, factors contributing to failure, financial failure. Several persistent recurring challenges explain why high earners in sports and entertainment end up broke. High spending and lifestyle inflation. Lack of financial literacy. Wow, the second one on the list. Short careers or poor post-career planning. Bad investments and scams. Back to financial literacy, by the way. The entourage effect. This goes to another live stream that I shot talking about the company you keep. You can run into whatever money you want, but if the people around you are toxic, irresponsible, don't value money, it's not going to last long. Many financial struggles athletes many financially struggling athletes feel pressure to support large numbers of family members and friends, a practice that can quickly drain your wealth, especially if they're poor in their mindset. Poor advice, which goes back to financial literacy. If you have a base point, then it's harder to trick you with some BS. Career-ending injuries and complex tax situations. Financial literacy again. Financial literacy. Half of this list is financial literacy. The other half of it is ideology and culture. Everything on this list lands in financial literacy, ideology around money, and culture. The money didn't fix anything. The money didn't fix anything. So let's take a look at a compiled list that I personally compiled this time of striking topics for Black America in particular when it comes to financial hardships. And I'm talking about a list of economic and financial stats or areas where we're struggling the most. So we're the most underbanked, We have the worst unemployment numbers. We have the worst pay by scale in our given fields, generally speaking. We have the lowest credit scores. We have the least assets. We have the worst inheritance, meaning that we get it the least. Lowest rates of home ownership and business ownership. Lowest participation in the stock market. And you all believe that this can be fixed by just a windfall of money like stimulus or reparations? Comment down below and let me know. The list I just read off to you, and if you need me to read it again, let me know. If you are watching the replay, comment down below. Let me know. Let me know, the list that I just read off, this can be fixed simply by a windfall of money? Comment and let me know what y'all think. I don't think we know what to buy with our income. What up, credit cousin? Oh yeah, we diving into all of that right now. And I don't know if you just jumping in, credit cousin, or not, but I want y'all to let me know. Do y'all think a windfall of money? Do you believe a windfall of money is the only fix and the only solution needed to fix the list of things that I just read off? The list of financial, basically areas or categories of financial deprivation that we're experiencing. Underbanked, poor employment numbers, least asset, credit scores, home ownership, business ownership. Will cash fix those problems by itself? Better question. Will it sustain for generations with just reparations or some windfall of money like stimulus? Let's get past us for a second. Without financial literacy, without social community infrastructure, without cultural ideology around money, how much can a lump sum payout of money really last? That's my question. What can it really build? How long can it last? Again, without financial literacy, without social community infrastructure, without cultural ideology around money, how long can it last? And what can it build? What's the plan? What's the plan for our children? What's the plan for the kids? You want to hope they get reparations in their generation? Maybe they'll get another crack at it. They're going to get another stimulus during their time. There'll be another economic cycle where there'll be a windfall of money pumped into the system that they can get their hands on directly or indirectly. COVID will come back through and get them some stimmy checks. Comment down below. Y'all let me know. Cousin said not long. It's not going to last. Let me know. Wayne, you still in the building? You know, Judith, you were one of my first comments. Some of y'all, leave your super chats, leave your likes. But let me know. I don't know about y'all, but I don't think so. I don't think it's going to do much. I don't think it's going to do very much. So let's be clear. Let's be clear for a second before we get into this a little deeper. Money is only a tool. It's only a tool. It is not the solution. And that is my words. Money is only a tool. It is not the solution. Without knowledge, understanding, direction, objective, and experience, like any tool, it will not work appropriately. That tool will not work appropriately. You don't have understanding, you don't have knowledge, you don't have direction, you don't have objective, you don't have experience with it, it will not work appropriately. Even worse, it can hurt you. I just mentioned with the stimulus situation, people got in more trouble than when they were broke without the money. Imagine that for a second. You got your hands on free money from the government, from the financial system, directly in your hands of consumers for the first time, by the way. Businesses, corporations, governments been getting money thrown in their hands. 2008 crisis was nothing but a big ass stimulus, but it was only in the hands of corporations and governments. It didn't come to consumer hands until COVID. Why? Because they needed y'all to spin it. They needed y'all to spin it. We need to learn to create our wealth. That's exactly partly where I'm going with this, cousin. It's partly where I'm going with this. We need to learn. We need to learn to create, build, forge our own wealth. Let's just break that little sentence down alone. Comment. Let's break that down alone. We need to learn to create, build, forge, create something, build something. Our own wealth. That's exactly what I'm saying down here, what I just read. So not only does it not work appropriately, but it can hurt you. Before stimulus checks, a lot of people didn't have tax problems. Before stimulus checks, a lot of people didn't owe SBA back and the government back. A lot of people weren't going to jail for playing with stimulus money before it came. Money came and exacerbated the problem. It exacerbated the problem for a lot of us. It made it worse. I spent 4 hours today painting a lady's kitchen for $300. Grinding, hustling. But once we learn how to make the money, what's the plans? What's the plans? So not only do we not know how to use the tool, but the tool can hurt us, right? So just like fire is the example that I use. I'm assuming if humans were at some primitive state, didn't understand the world around them, that's the way we're taught that this whole thing went down, that we just eventually came to be and the world around us was new and we had to figure it out. So something like fire, for instance, probably was a terrifying phenomenon that we didn't know what the hell it was. Today, it's a tool. Fire went from being a destructive, unknown force to being a tool, an essential tool to development and growth of humanity, technology, build instructions, systems. Fire is the key element to many things that are made in this world today. Still to this day, as advanced as our technology is, we still need fire at the core foundation to manipulate raw materials that we use in technology. So fire went from a natural phenomenon to a tool. Why? Not because it was just existed and fell in our lap and got pumped in the system like stimulus and reparations. Because over time we learned it, we learned to understand it, we began to develop a use case to solve current problems. That's what money is. It's a use case to solve current problems. If we take the time out to see it as such and use it as such. So I got a few examples for y'all. Financial literacy examples, stimulus money, reparations, lump sums of money. How does a lump sum of money fix our underbanking problem, the underbanked problem? Y'all let me know. Feel free to continue to comment. How does a lump sum of money like stimulus or reparations, if every one of us just got 6-7 figures dropped in our lap, how does that fix the underbanked problem that we have? Where nearly somewhere between 30 to damn near 50% of us are underbanked. No matter how much money you have, if you're seen as illegitimate or high risk as a client to a bank, they won't take your business. I do this for a living, so I can attest to it. I watch accounts get shut down and relationships get shut down with 4 or 5 and occasionally even 6 figures. They don't give a damn. They don't care because it's not worth the risk. So I'm trying to figure out how a lump sum of cash is supposed to navigate that part of the system and get around that. Let me know. I got another one for you. How do you know which accounts are best for your money to preserve and grow it? You got a lump sum of money. Let's go with it. Stimulus money, reparations, 6 figures, 7 figures. Let's just keep going with it. How do you know which accounts, once you get a relationship established, are best to preserve or grow your money? I'm curious. And I know some of y'all in the comment section are financially literate enough to have that, to talk about that. But for some of you that are watching this live, and for some of you watching the replay, or for those of you who are watching this live and the people you know, it may not be you, but think about your family members, your friends, your peers, your church members, your coworkers. Let me know. Some of them, a lot of them. Because if you're financially literate, then statistically speaking, that means you're probably one of like 5 or 10. So not you, but let me know. You let me know. Well, how do you know which accounts to put the money in once you get it? And I see this all day. People give settlements, lawsuit money. It's gone. When is it a good time to use a savings account? What's the best use case for a CD? When is it best to do bonds? When is it best to put your money in stocks? Y'all let me know. I'm just curious. Y'all want reparations and stimulus so damn bad? Let me know. I'm curious. Let's do another one. How do we fix owning real estate once all of the money is deployed and tied up? So once you didn't spent it, once you then put it in the bank, whatever you're gonna do with it. Let's just say you buy the real estate cash. I know that's a big one. Everybody loves to do that. That's a perfect financial literacy one right there. Let's say you go out and buy the real estate, you go buy the mansions, you buy your mama house, you go buy your sister and them and your girl, your whoever, you go buy everybody a house. Cool. Let's say you own a property free and clear, you done bought the house. When you go to the bank to tap that equity, because you're gonna need the equity at some point, do you have the financial literacy to know that once that money is locked in the house, that you can only sell a house or borrow from it to get it back? So once you go back to get that money, because you're gonna get it, because you tied it all up in the house, how are you gonna get that money out? I'm curious. Because remember, we underbank, our credit is terrible, and we don't have our financials together. So I'm curious. Okay, you got past it, you got that reparations, you got the stimmy money, you bought the house. Cool, good move, decent move. What happens when you need the money? I'm sorry, let me know. Y'all let me know in the chat. What happens? What y'all gonna do? What's the plan? How you gonna go to the bank when that money's tied in the house and you fix no other problem? You still don't have credit. Your credit's still terrible. You don't have financials, so you can't verify anything. I'm curious. The credit and the documentation needed to tap the equity, your own money out of your own house. The bank's gonna tell you no. So I'm curious. What does the house mean to you paid off when you need the money and you can't access it? Interesting. How do you sustain a business? Let's just say some of y'all are decent enough to get the stimmy money, the reparations money, and you put it into a business. Great. Okay, shout out to you. How do you sustain it and keep it funded? Once the money's been tied up and deployed, you bought all the equipment, you bought the storefront, you did whatever, you marketed it, you did everything with the money you needed to do. You maybe even hired a couple people. Once that's all gone, because it's gonna go, what happens then? How do you get everything together to qualify for funding? Once the cash has been deployed, I'm curious. I'm just curious. I'm just asking a few questions. Y'all let me know. What's the plan? The business is going to always need money. So that initial cash injection, even if it's 6 or 7 figures, that's great. It's a good start. But the business will always need money. Businesses gobble money up, in case you don't know. They gobble them up. I'm a business banker and I am operating a business or two. So I know they gobble up money always. It doesn't matter. It's always going to have an infinite appetite for your cash. So what happens when that 6 figures, that 7 figures is gone? Y'all let me know. So one of my comments, my guy says cash flow and monthly payments from customers. Cool. That might fund your operation. What happens if you have an emergency or you need you have an expansion opportunity? Shout out to everybody leaving a like, super chats, comments. Cool. We know that if you're successful and you're fortunate, the customers are paying to keep the lights on and maybe run a little bit of profit. But you run into a seasonality issue, maybe a natural disaster impacts your business. Maybe a political change affects your or regulation affects your industry. Have we not seen that recently? Whatever it is, or you get a growth opportunity, an expansion opportunity. There's outside of what is coming in revenue-wise from your clientele base that you're serving, you're gonna need money. I don't give a damn what anybody says. I literally manage people's business bank relationships and lending relationships for a living. So I'm telling you firsthand, it's not a question. I'm telling you that part. You're going to need money outside of what you're generating from business activity generally. If that was the case, why the hell does Walmart borrow money still? Why does Apple borrow money? If it's just about people buying their products, why do they borrow money? If you could just run off the cash, I'm curious. Somebody educate me. The stimulus money that's coming into the system, how will it solve any problem I just went over so far? How do you avoid getting ripped off or scammed out of the money if you don't know money? We just talked about the athletes and entertainers. That's one of their biggest problems. If you don't know money, how do you prevent yourself from getting ripped off? I'm curious. Y'all let me know. So you say one of my guys says, I have great credit. People see me making money. They want to invest in me and my companies. So everything you just said in the comment, Credit Cousin, is everything I'm pointing out right now. Infrastructure, credibility, financials, improving success, a track record. What you're naming, most of Black America does not have. But they're crying for stimulus and reparations. So they don't have what you already have worked for and built. I already know my pioneers that's watching right now that's dedicated, or at least a portion of you, have these things already. I know that. I'm trying to figure out for the ones you know who don't listen to you, who won't follow you, who don't have it, you're going to be fine if stimulus and reparations comes in. Most of y'all are going to be fine. I know this already. My pioneers that have been watching this, I watch it. I read y'all comments. I watch y'all all the time. I just had a great comment on my Navy Federal credit limit video, credit limit growth strategy video, and a whole conversation broke out. Like, I know some of you have it, but you're one of dozens. You're one of few. You're literally 1 out of 5, 10, 15 in your neighborhoods, in your communities, at your job, at your church, in any subculture you belong to. You're one of the few. That's how we end up congregating on YouTube, because in the real life, there's hardly none of us. In real life, there's hardly none of us. You see what I'm saying? So y'all let me know. I'm curious. How do you not get scammed? How do you know what's real? How do you know who's really helping and who's really just scamming you? Who's giving you terrible advice? How do you know it's terrible advice if you don't know money, if you don't have financial literacy? So I'm going to hit y'all with this. Money is not the solution. For you reparations junkies, you stimulus junkies, money is not the solution. Is it old? Is reparations old? Sure. Is stimulus inevitable in a natural economic cycle? Sure. Should we be striving to get a fair portion of it, or a reasonably fair portion of it? Go for it. But money is not the solution. Money is not the solution. So what is money? Let me help some of y'all out who have the attention span to stay into the video this long, for the replay and for those of you who are on live. What is money? Money is a tool. Money is speed. Money is installation. Money is amplified force. Money is a louder microphone. Money is a bargaining chip. Money is a peacekeeper. Money is a deterrent. It is shapeless. It is formless. It assumes the purpose and the use of the operator. Did y'all catch that? I want y'all to just tell me if y'all caught that. That's me. That's mine. I ain't quoting nobody's book, nobody's Bible, none of that. That's mine. I just did that. Did y'all catch that? Money is speed. It is a tool. Money is insulation. It is amplified force. It is a louder microphone. It is a bargaining chip. It is a peacekeeper. It is a deterrent. It is shapeless and formless and takes on the purpose and use case of the operator. It is as good and as useful as who's using it. Just like every other tool and technology available. It is only as good as the individual or the entity leveraging it. It does nothing outside of that. Absolutely nothing. Which is why you can put money in the hands of millions of Black Americans and millions of Americans as a whole. And within a couple to a few years, that money is usurped right out of their hands. Into company valuations, into landlords' hands, into real estate investors' hands when the property gets foreclosed on, to the government and taxes, to the private prison systems when your ass get locked up for finessing for the money. That's why the money doesn't stay. It makes the Bernard Arnault over Gucci the richest man in the world, on paper at least, in front of the world. It makes the people that are over Gucci, Prada, Mercedes, Dolce and Gabbana, it makes them the richest people in the financial system in the world, the richest business owners in the world. It makes Apple rich. This is why stimulus in your hand is perfectly fine. Nobody's worried about you taking it and building something that's going to threaten the system. What? You idiot. Here, take it. It's yours. Have at it. What? It'll be back in our hands plus some in 6 months, a year. Nothing. I'm curious. The system, you really think the system will let you buy your way out? You get reparations or stimulus money. Some of y'all think the system's just gonna let you buy your way out. It's gonna let you just write a check and I'm out of here, yo. I'm financially free. I'm circumstantially free. I get to dictate my life and move on. I ain't gotta participate anymore. I'm free. That's what y'all think. That's what y'all think. That I can just buy my way out. If they cut me a big, by the way, the people that you're trying to buy your freedom from is the ones y'all need to cut the check. So I'm just so entertained at how y'all think this is gonna go down if you ever get reparations or the next time stimulus comes out. Y'all let me know. Leave me a super chat so we can have a conversation. Leave a super chat. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. You really think the system, like, you have to play the game to win. The tax code, the regulations, the banking system is all designed, no matter how smart you think you are, how much money you think you have, for you to have to play to win. If reparations were to ever be extended at the scale and estimated projections, you really think the system would collapse itself paying it out to you? That's my question. You really think if reparations was ever extended, if you think the next stimulus money coming out is at any scale is coming out, and you really think the system is gonna let you collapse it? It's gonna give you the money you need to collapse it. It's gonna give you what you need to collapse the system by removing yourself, by buying your freedom and no longer having to participate in it the way that it needs you to participate to keep functioning. I'm curious. Learn to make your last name rich. Yes, sir. All the companies I just named, damn near, are all people's last names. I can shoot a whole damn live stream of companies that everyday companies y'all ain't paying no attention to. That's all just somebody's last name. But everything that you're saying, learn to make your last name rich, generational wealth, all these fancy catchphrases and etc. All of that, nobody truly understands what it really takes to create that. Those of you screaming for stimulus and reparations and thinking that's just gonna fix all your problems and it's all gonna go away after that, it's astounding how many of y'all really think that that's gonna do it. That's gonna be enough to talk about what my guy Credit Cousin saying about making your last name rich and making it mean something and building legacy, generational wealth. Y'all just think I'm gonna get $1 million, $10 million in reparations and I'm out of here. I'm gonna fix everything. I'm gonna be rich. My kids gonna be rich. My kids' gonna be rich. It's over. We done. We good. Them people ever cut reparations out, or the next wave of stimulus that comes out, if it comes anywhere near in the direct form of hands, which I'm gonna shoot another video on where the stimulus is gonna largely go for those of you who want to really get into this game and win for this money when it gets dispersed. But if the next time, if that money ever comes, reparations or whatever it is, if the problems that exist today are there when that money comes, I guarantee you that the system is going to feast off of you. The Arabs and the Indians and the Asians that own all the stores around you, the rich Europeans that own all the clothing lines and the fast cars that y'all keep spending and wasting the money on, on down the line. Every other group that owns all of the businesses that y'all keep pouring y'all money into is going to be rich in a matter of months to a couple years. If reparations and any massive stimulus comes back, it's going to be the same thing all over again. Not going to change anything. Nothing. You'll be broker. You'll probably have more psychological and emotional stress because the money was once there and you blew it. We've all been there on some level. Many more of us could achieve reparation-like success with the right mindset, knowledge, courage, skills, and relationships. And that's what my guy Credit Cousins down in the comment section fussing about right now. At the end of the day, what he's describing in the comment section, and many of my viewers and a lot of the quality financial creators out there, shout out to Richard Fang, shout out to the Credit Plug, shout out to some of these individuals who have truly been putting out quality information and an intent and a real message behind it, with the intent of financial literacy, access to financial resources, how to put together your financials, how to really navigate the system effectively and actually grow and scale and build real wealth and legacy. Shout out to the ones out there that have been seriously trying to do it. Shout out to the people that's part of my channel, that's part of my committee, my pioneers. And I say pioneers for a reason. It's not a cute catchphrase. It's first generation trailblazers. Most of us don't come from wealth. What we've accomplished, the credit limits, the money in the bank, whatever business success, career success, whatever real estate we own, whatever we got going on, most of us have done it from scratch. That's why I call us, that's why we've been dubbed the pioneers. That's where that comes from. It's not just a cute community name. It's real talk, real trailblazers, real risk takers. That's facts. So many of us can achieve, and some of us will achieve, reparations-like success with the right mindset, knowledge, courage, skills, and relationships. Facts. Did you know JP Warren Buffett don't buy stocks in his name, only in the name of his companies, Berkshire Hathaway? Facts. Facts. But you know what kind of, exactly, that's big facts. Most of the wealthy people buy nothing in their name, actually. You use a great example with stocks in Berkshire Hathaway, and they keep estimating. They look at many of these people don't know, and it's, again, maybe not the viewers, but the viewers' environment. Many of you don't know that when a lot of these individuals' net worth is put out there, and estimated net worth, it's not their actual money. It's in their companies. It's in their trusts. And many of you keep running around consuming content about building out companies and building out trusts. Are y'all serious? Are y'all serious? That's a whole nother live stream topic. It's ridiculous. I watch it in the bank all the time. I watch it in the bank all the time. If the business credit, business funding space ain't laughable enough at this point, with these idiots keep running in with these LLCs and corporations, and watching these content creators, I had somebody come up to me, and I literally don't know the gentleman's name. He's in my city. We've crossed paths a couple of times. He stopped me one time coming out of a store that he works at, talking to me about, he recognized me from YouTube. He's like, "Oh, you the guy on YouTube?" I'm like, yeah, sir. I said, "Okay, yeah, I see you. And he turn around and he say, "Man, you ain't seen such and such creator? Derek Whitehead." He like, "You see Derek Whitehead?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm not sure." Then he talked about it a little more. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I ran across his content. I know you're talking about him." For those of you who don't know, you can go look up Derek Whitehead. I believe that's his name, Derek Whitehead. He's in the finance creator space. You know, seems to be a very successful, older, established gentleman. He like, "Man, he helping people get to that bag." Really? Interesting. How many bags have you achieved watching this content? I'll wait. Y'all let me know. How many bags have you achieved watching this content? How many actionable strategies have you taken from his channel? Or do you just get hyped up? I watch the man's videos. So does he have real, legitimate financial strategies that can create wealth for his viewership? Probably. But I watch his videos. It's not in there like talking about it. And ain't no disrespect to him. I'm just keeping it a buck. It's a hype train. Most of his videos ain't doing nothing but selling y'all into classes, courses, webinars, events. It's a sales funnel. But when you don't have financial literacy, you don't know that. You think you're getting game. You start this corporation and you run to this bank and you tell them and you demand and you tell them, "I want the bag." The fuck, bro? Really? Y'all serious? Y'all serious? That's what y'all out here hyped up about? This is what y'all talking about? This is y'all reparation, y'all stimulus guidance right here? Y'all joked out on these content creators that's running y'all through sales funnels and picking y'all pockets apart. I done had this channel going on 3 years in December. Grew it to a level of monetization, all that. Not one sales funnel. I'm not telling you it's not going to get to that point, but I've been putting out almost 700 videos of organic original content, not a bunch of reaction videos, not piggybacking off other people's topics, organic content that any one of you, if you wanted to, can watch these videos and actually go to your bank and make a change. Actually take your credit and make a change. My channel has content right now that can fix, repair, rebuild, build from scratch credit, build banking relationships from scratch, help you access capital and real estate funding, business funding. You can watch my channel for free and legitimately make serious changes with your money and your finances. I stand on that. Guaranteed. If you're serious and can understand it, it's nothing. There's no sales funnels, none of that. I ain't even advertising nothing to drive y'all nowhere. All I tell y'all is to check the description down below if you want to work with me one-on-one. You got people like Credit Cousin, my guy, lighting up the YouTube, the comment section right now. Actionable videos. When he speaks on financial content, when he's telling you about bonus offers, credit plays, banks and financial institutions offering this, that, and the third, actionable content that you can actually walk out right out the door tomorrow and use and make money, build credit, and repair your finances. So, I don't know. Yeah, I know Credit Cousin. I'm learning that firsthand, and I'm about to close this video out. But most of y'all don't really want to make a change, and that's what my guy Credit Cousin is saying. Down, most of y'all ain't serious. Y'all just want to be entertained. Y'all want the hype. Y'all want the energy. It feels good. Y'all want the dopamine. Y'all don't want action. Y'all don't want a lot of y'all don't want the knowledge. And for those of you this doesn't apply for, share it with who it does apply for. I know for a lot of y'all watching the live right now and watching the replay, if you made it this far, I know it's not y'all, but y'all are surrounded by people this applies to. Share it. Share it. Send it to them. Send it to the ones who need to see it. It's not for you. I want y'all to keep watching so y'all can sharpen y'all skills and knowledge and understanding and stay up to date. But y'all can pass it to the people around y'all that y'all care about that ain't trying to move the needle. That's what this is for. I'm on my way out. I want y'all to comment down below any thoughts, final questions, thoughts, feedback. Any of y'all watching the replay, comment down below. To all my pioneers, welcome back. To our new viewers, welcome in. As I always say, if y'all want to tie in with me on Instagram, get in the description down below once this video is fully tied in. If you want to learn more about the video I put around the reparations conversation and replying to Tariq Nasheed and Vlad's interview, I'm going to put that down below soon. And also for any of you who are looking to work with me one-on-one, you can either comment in the comment section or you can go down in the description once this is all tied in, and there should be a link down there that will provide you a list of areas I specialize and can help assist you on your financial journey. Other than that, I appreciate all of y'all for stopping in. I stopped. Our people don't want it. Man, don't give up, Credit Cousin. I feel you, but don't give up, man. Keep putting out that good work for the few of them out there that's trying to take it, man, that's trying to get it. But to all of my pioneers, I appreciate every single one of y'all. Y'all are the real ones. Y'all solid. And I'm going to continue doing this for y'all and doing this for my growth and my advancement. But I'm going to continue doing this for y'all as well, because I know a handful of y'all out there are serious and getting real value. So I appreciate y'all. Other than that, I want each and every one of you to stay focused. Stay in motion. I'll see y'all soon. Be blessed, Credit Cousin.